Hello guys and welcome to a brand new video. Today I'm here with Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3 episode number 8 reaction. So the previous episode, we have divided into, or not really divided, but we got separated. Megumi and Yuji got separated, and now both of them are trying to find Higuruma, I think, right? That was his name. And that's what's going on over there. We also have oh no, I forgot his name. What was his name? The guy, the senpai, who we actually got, like help from, who's going to work together with us. Kirara and what was his name? I've forgotten his name. Not forgotten, it's just slipping my mind now. Anyways, but he has decided to help us, obviously. So he is going to, I think he said something along the lines of he's going to try and find out that other guy, the new guy. There's so many characters, I'm mixing up the names now. The guy who we saw at the end, who has like lightning power or something. So that's the current goal now. Now, turns out Yuji and Megumi both of them met two characters who are taking them to apparently where Higuruma is, but both of them are telling different locations. So someone is lying or both of them are lying. So, let's see what happens. Yeah, let's get started. Now, I will be putting the timer over here. The subtitles won't be provided. And sync your original video alongside my reaction. Sync it to the timer and watch it alongside my reaction. And yeah, let us get started. So, here's the countdown. 3, 2, 1, go. Whew. Hmm. And 19%. What? Okay. Wait, his voice, Gintoki's voice. I don't remember. That's the cat. I just picked it up. He says that it's because of his cat. Winters of his. Oh, okay, that as well. I'll say. later. Okay. Hmm. Whoa. That's crazy. Can what? What? Yeah. What type of a rule is that? Hmm. Don't trip. Who's this guy? Yeah, his cat. Oh, that's Higuruma. Okay, I wasn't expecting him to be like a police officer, like a middle-aged, not a police officer, but like connected to the law. Oh, he's a lawyer. Okay, he used to. Oh my god. Hmm. Impossible cases. Oh, so he's like a ally of the weak kind of rope. This girl looks a lot like Shoko. This kind of innocent. Okay, right. So that he did it. Not yet. Right. Look what the challenge said. Bruh. Hmm. Don't cook fish. Yeah, he said. Hmm. Okay, here we go. Second trial. Oh, oh God. Well, hmm. Any new evidence? Oh, that I've- that's why he said that there's still a second trial left. Those eyes blaming him. Yeah. Hmm. Damn. Oh, yeah. He awakened his. Damn. Yep. Culling gameplay. Higuruma Hiromi. No. Yeah. No. Okay. So Yuji's going here. No, Megumi's coming here because what the hell is going on here? Oh wait, this is that guy. The one with Yuji. What's his name? Yeah. Yeah. So he's like, oh, Yuji. Well, he's just gonna beat all of them up. Ah, here he comes. Yuji breaks world records for breakfast and dinner, so you know. I don't think these guys are capable of taking him on. Bruh, bruh. Oh, damn, full clown show. He's like, ah, you within this group? Yeah. Rin Amai. Where's Megumi? He's like, no, she's taking him to that guy we saw. You know, when he was saying, like, oh, when is that girl going to bring me another sucker? So, is he telling the truth? Like I said, there's a possibility both of them are lying. But for now, I'm guessing he's telling the truth. If one of them is telling the truth. Okay, I think he's telling the truth. Oh, wait, no, never mind. Maybe not. Okay, so, yeah, there you go. Reiji? Wow. Oh, boy. Okay, so he's Yuji with Higuruma. Then, what the hell? Why? What? Okay, yeah. Bro, why is there a spotlight on you? And why are you wearing clothes in a bathtub? No, I don't think so. Ah, that's why. Hmm. Damn, every half an hour? Not even an hour? Okay. Hmm. You think? What pause? Bro, what? No. I've come here for Higuruma. Who the hell are you? Hmm. Yeah. Ooh. So you know him? Okay, so he's one of those. The old sorcerers. Oh, okay. Potential. Bluff. Huh. What's that? 10 columns. 101. Yeah. So, hmm. Yeah. Makes sense. True. Okay. Hmm. Early second awakening of modern sorcerer. Uh, oh yeah. Yeah. Preserve them, not. Yeah, like. Permanence. It's like, yeah. Otherwise, this fist will talk. Hmm. Yeah. Oh, damn. Deadly sentencing. So. Oh, oh. Oh, are they going to. Oh, no. This is a whole ass trial? Side of intention just to cover for the real plan. What? What is this? The freaking Holy Grail War? That's what it's looking like. Like, like the remaining players, they are the keystone to achieving whatever Kenjaku is planning. And now he's with these guys, who I'm guessing like the probably are like the higher ups and the the big deal, the people at the top of political, whatever. Mm. Mm. All right, and there you go. That was today's episode. Um, episode number 8. Not today's episode. This episode has been out for quite a while. I'm a bit late in making this video. I think like episode 9 is coming out tomorrow or something. Uh, I will make a reaction to it a few days later, but that was episode number 8 reaction. Right, that was a very interesting episode. We had an introduction to Higuruma, and we get to know like what his actual like thought process, his intentions, and like things like that. We get to know why he's doing all of this, or what is his actual plan. So right, and the thing which we saw in the previous episode is where both those characters, Yuji's that guy, the friend of Yuji, not really friend, but the acquaintance of Yuji. I forgot his name again. Either way, him and that other girl, both of them were taking Megumi and Yuji to two different places. So I was like, yeah, probably one of them are lying, or one of them is lying, or both of them are lying. Turns out the girl was lying. We kind of saw that as soon as we saw that character that Megumi met later, who said that, oh, when is that girl going to bring me another sucker or something like that. So there you go. She was the one who was lying, and the guy actually brought Yuji to the proper place. Now the thing about this is that guy, the guy who brought Yuji to this place, he we get a little bit of a flashback where we see he was one of those guys who like who knew how to read the room, and was very careful in making sure that he maintained um, his position in the the class hierarchy and all that. Like like in animes and stuff, and I'm guessing probably in Japan as well. Like the whole bullying thing is quite a bit prevalent, like in a very big way. Like bullying exists everywhere, but I feel like if anime is something which, like obviously anime exaggerates a lot of things, but obviously that also means there's truth to it as well. So the amount of bullying that we see in anime, if that reflects anything that happens in the real world, then the bullying situation in Japan is absolutely insane, because we've seen some crazy things happening. Like I said, obviously anime exaggerates stuff. Maybe it doesn't happen to that degree, but it is still prevalent. So what we have seen from these type of things in anime is whenever these type of bullying happens, there's like a class hierarchy. Obviously there's the top ones, the ones who do the bullying, as he said over here in this place, that they might be stupid, they might not have any kind of like a proper like like thoughts going on in their head, but there's one thing that is common in all the people who bully: they have immense amount of pride, and they are at the top of social hierarchy in a school. Either they're extremely popular, or they're good at some kind of sports or something, something that elevates them from all the others in this inbuilt hierarchy of a school. So these guys who are doing the bullying, and then we have obviously the other normal people, or the students who just stay at the background, who doesn't interfere in any of these things and try to keep themselves safe. He was one of them, and he was kind of a cynical type of a person, where you can see he kind of looked at these people who were getting bullied, and in his head he was thinking like, oh, see, this is what happens when you stand out. This is what happens, like when like you don't try to regulate yourselves in front of these guys, you get bullied. Thank God I'm not there. Thank God this is not happening to me. And he's one of those guys who keeps themselves at a safe distance, like says yes to everything that the other person knows how to read the room. That's the main thing. You need to know how to read the room in front of these type of people. You shouldn't say anything that ticks them off. You should always agree with them. Like whenever they say something, and yeah, Now the thing is, there's a group of people, or the who are at the lower part of the social hierarchy in schools, who don't even have that as an option, because they immediately get rejected, because they're either like some way or the other they're weaker than these upper hierarchical person. Either they're not popular, or they're some kind of a otaku or a nerd. That's why they get ranked lower in the social hierarchy. They don't even get that option to agree. They automatically reject it. People like this guy, this kid, who we saw, who's Yuji's friend, not friend again. I'm telling him, that guy. He he's actually like like looks wise he's pretty good. He's pretty good looking, and that is why he at least got a chance to be that person who stays at the background and like knows how to read the room, and hence he doesn't get bullied. So you can see how like a cynical type of mindset he had, where at the beginning where he was like looking at the other person getting bullied and he was like, oh, see, this is what happens. And, in his head he's thinking of all of this in a way of masking his own cowardice or his own inability to do something out of this situation. Like, and it was like, what can I say, like when you don't get something, you look at someone else and you are like, oh, like, yeah, you're also not getting it, serves you right. But in an unfortunate situation, you're also in the same position. You're just looking at the other person and wallowing in their misery, and you're getting enjoyment, not enjoyment, but you're getting like content. You're being content with that. There's that word, what is that called, misery loves company, that kind of thing. He was basically, like that. And then came across Yuji, who just came and just completely destroyed that social hierarchy in a matter of seconds by just beating all of them up. You know, so now you can see here in this situation, he's bringing him to Higuruma again. I'm assuming he's now kind of like not working with, but he's like connected to Higuruma now, and you can see at the end, very end, he kind of apologizes to Yuji, and he's like, I should stop doing these type of things. But he was feeling bad that he brought Yuji here, because obviously Higuruma is pretty damn strong, as we can see. And I'm guessing this is probably what happened. Higuruma killed a lot of the like the contestants. That's why he has like 100 points. I'm guessing this kid, who brought Yuji to him, he probably was also in a similar situation, and Higuruma for some reason didn't kill him, and now in a way he's kind of like working with him, maybe like not working with him, but he's kind of like connected to him, and he wanted to, and like obviously he wants to do something, but he's not that powerful, or he's powerless to do anything, and that's why he brought Yuji here, and in his head he's apologizing, because he's like, I'm literally doing the same thing what I was doing before. I haven't gotten any stronger. Either way, that's what I think the situation is. He's just a person who's powerless in this situation to do anything, and that in itself kind of eats at him from the inside, and something like that. Either way, that's that. I wanted to talk about this because like that guy, that kid, I forgot his name. Anyways, he kind of like, like his situation kind of interested me, because you can see like they show like a part of the episode from his point of view, showing what he thinks about it. And I don't think he's a bad guy, but he's basically someone who's like unfortunate in this situation. And even if he wants to do something, he cannot, because he lacks that courage, or like something along those lines. And he, internally he feels bad that he literally brought Yuji into Higuruma, because yeah. Either way, that was that. Now, now let's talk about Higuruma. Obviously, the guy who we have been seeing in this episode for the maximum amount of time. He's a criminal lawyer, and from what we can see of him, he's someone who, as he says, in the eyes of law, like obviously the what do you call them, the goddess who holds the scale, she is blindfolded, because in the eyes of law, everything should be looked at in a more neutral way. Like you shouldn't favor someone or do something like that. Everything is blind in that in that way. But as he says, that at least I don't want to be like that, and I want to help those guys whose words like mean nothing, and who are not able to like do anything, and they just where's that part, he says it in a very beautiful way. Where's that part, uh, where these people are helpless in these type of situations? He wants to help those guys, and that is why he says, at least I want to keep my eyes open, in front of the law, which is blind. Okay, where's that part? Okay, here it is. Okay, so he says, okay, what about your mental state, Higuruma-kun? Um, I'm not trying to tout the ideal of saving the weak. It's always gone against my nature to leave things alone when I feel they're wrong. So yeah, as he's like, I think this is wrong, you know, and I don't like turning a blind eye to it, you know. Yeah, I've never just managed to fix that habit. The goddess of justice blinds her sight to maintain fairness under the law, and people turn a blind eye to all kinds of things to protect themselves. But I don't want to brush away the hands clinging to me for help. Right. So I want to keep my eyes open at least. Yeah. So that is his, like his, what he is, the type of person he is, why he's doing stuff like this, and why he always takes in, as that lady said, like, you always take these criminal cases which are almost impossible to solve. Now, impossible to win. So he does say that he's not really like helping the weak, and like trying to tout his own, whatever, like his savior complex or whatever. But he thinks, what is wrong. He wants to fix that, and that is why he, you know, he puts his hand out to the people who needs help in these type of situation, unfortunate situation. But as as it goes, it never works out. Like, as we see at the very beginning, they were kind of winning, but then at the second trial, everything just went in a completely different direction, and he got like a life sentence. And then he always sees those eyes of the people on the other side, where they look at him in a way, like in a very accusatory way, like, oh, you're the reason why this happened. And he's like, why are you looking at me like that? Like, so that kind of thing. It's interesting because, like, I think he does have a savior complex in a way. He does deny it, but at the same time he does have it. And at the same time, like, what can I say, like, you can see that he's very egotistical in a way, because like the case that we saw, obviously that case, there's a possibility that that kid was actually innocent. There's a possibility. But the fact is, like, that's not the only case. He probably went through a lot of cases like this, and if he always takes these type of cases where there's like a criminal, like, like an investigation, like he's like on the criminal side, and he's like trying to get them out of situations like this, surely he must have found at least a few cases where the person who did this is actually guilty. So he does the same for them as well, you know obviously thinking that, no, there must be something else. So that's why I think, like, it's a bit egotistical, because he automatically assumes that, oh yeah, whichever, like, like, direction I'm going is the correct one. Like, he says, you can see in this part, he says that I want to, like, in the uh, in law, where to ensure fairness, the eyes are blindfolded. I want to help these people by keeping my eyes open. Okay, where's that part? Yeah. So he says that I don't want to leave things alone when I feel like they're wrong. So here we go. Here's the first part. He says, when I feel like they're wrong. No, I feel like. So if he thinks that, oh yeah, this is wrong, or this is not, like, maybe this is something bad going on over here, and something that people are not realizing, he wants to help them, which is all well and good. But here's the question: don't you think that there's a possibility you are wrong as well while you're taking that decision? Maybe you made a mistake and you're thinking that that guy is innocent. Maybe he's not. He never questions that. That's why I'm saying he's egotistical, because in his head, the fact that he might be wrong, he never brings that up. He's like, oh yeah, I think this something wrong is going on, so I want to help them, so I want to, it's all about me, what I think. Okay, so here we go. I never just managed to fix that habit. The goddess of justice blinds her sight to maintain fairness under the law. People turn a blind eye to all kinds of things to protect themselves, which is true. Like I said, I'm not saying, I'm not denying that happens. That obviously happens. But the fact that there's a possibility that maybe in some cases you are actually wrong by thinking that person is innocent, doesn't that, like, doesn't that come to your head at all? And maybe the fact that maybe you might be making a wrong decision by judging it like this, that he never brings that up at all. I don't want to brush away the hands clinging to me for help. If this hand that is clinging to you for help is actually guilty, what about that situation then? You know, so that's why, like, since he never brings that up, since he automatically says from the very beginning that, oh, I want to help these people because I think they might be innocent, but never bringing up the fact that, oh, maybe there is a possibility still that maybe they are actually guilty, that makes me think that this egotistical nature of him, and the fact that, oh, if I think this is correct or if I think this is wrong, that must be correct or that must be wrong, in itself is something that is pretty, what can I say, like, wrong in that sense. Because, you're human, you can make a mistake. Like, maybe a decision which you took, maybe that is wrong. Maybe you thinking that guy is innocent, maybe that is wrong in itself. Then that would mean you're actually, that kind of thing. Anyways, so he, like, you can say that he kind of got a power which reminds me of, like, Death Note, where L got the Death Note. Not L, sorry, Light got the Death Note. Like, he's like, oh, I'm going to take care of all the criminals and I'm going to give them justice and, like, like, teach them a lesson. And he takes, like, law into his own hands. And we saw what happened in Death Note. We all know, like, how it goes. Like, he kind of reminds me of that type of situation where now he has gotten a power where he judges people and he's like, oh, I'm going to use this to judge them. Like, he doesn't think that he's wrong. That's the thing. He thinks he's correct and he thinks he's he's doing the right thing. And that is the biggest problem here. He's taken, like, it into his own hands. And yeah, but then again, like I said, at the end of the day, I don't think he is a bad guy or he was a bad guy. He's just someone who, like, went through so much of these cases and so many people, like, and his own habit of taking in cases where criminal cases where it's almost impossible to win, and the stress and the frustration of not being able to do anything in those situations. And on top of that, when things go wrong, the people who you're fighting this for looking at you in an accusatory way as if blaming you that, oh, this is your fault, all of these things, as that lady said, what about your mental health? All of that, like, got to him so much that, after he awakened the power, now he's, like, acting like this. So, yeah. Right. Now, I'm saying he awakened his power. We still don't actually know what his, like, his power does. So I guess we'll have to wait for the next episode. He used domain expansion, and now, like, Yuji's in, like, a courtroom with Higuruma, like, at the back with the hammer, with the judge hammer. So let's see. In the next episode, we'll probably get to know what is the nature of that power and what he does with it. Okay, now that was that. Now, a few other things to talk about here. For example, the case in itself. The case that we saw in front of our eyes is about this kid who says that, like, so the situation is basically he, like, a knife was found. Like, at the very beginning, it felt extremely weird because I was thinking, like, yeah, why were so many clues pointing towards him? For example, he says that he found a knife, a bloody knife, and he took it with him. He kept it with himself without reporting it to the police. Why would you do that? His excuse is like, oh, I was going to do it. And also the fact that why he ran away from police questioning is that he said that apparently he keeps a cat, and that cat in the place that he keeps them is not allowing pets, so he didn't want to draw attention to himself so that his pet gets thrown out and he falls, he gets into trouble. That's why he ran away. I think that's what he said, right? And when asked, like, what was a knife doing with you, bloodied and everything, he's like, oh, I found it. Like, you found it? Like, there's like DNA and everything of the victim and everything. Like, what? Why? Like, why didn't you report it or anything? He said, like, oh, I was going to report it. And yeah, so obviously, at the very beginning, I was like, what is this guy saying? Like, all these things that he's saying sounds extremely weird. Like, who picks up a knife and keeps it with them? Like, the first thing you should do if you come across a knife like that is go and report it to the police, right? He like kept it with him. But then a few other things is brought up about him, where Higuruma talks about how he works for a non-governmental organization where like he doesn't get like paid properly. On top of that, he has to pay rent, and what he gets is sometimes like some new year money and some kind of like like foods and grocery and all that. Sometimes he takes care of the people over there, the elderly, and that's what happens. Now, the thing about this organization is extremely shady. Apparently, there are like like weird things going on over here. And where's that part? Yeah, they collected 550,000 yen a month for him as a rent. There we go. The rules are very weird. We cannot call any cop cars or ambulances because that bother the neighbor. Wow. Right. So obviously Higuruma's like, that means this organization is kind of shady. Like, why the hell would an organization ask stuff like that? And then they don't even pay them properly. They do these kind of things, and like, yeah, and so all these things. So that kind of now makes sense why he, even after finding the knife, he didn't contact the police and everything. It kind of like lines up a little bit. And okay, wait a minute. Okay, it's extremely close to being outright illegal. We've already seen an increase in suspiciously managed NPOs since the earthquake relief funds started flowing into this region. Not surprising, the murder weapon was just lying around. Good possibility O is innocent. So, it lines up. But here's one question that it struck me, and I found it weird why Higuro never brought that up, is the fact that why was Oe, after all of this, still working over there? So there are possible explanations to that, which is maybe he was somehow stuck over there. Maybe he joined that organization at the beginning thinking that, oh, it's a normal like thing, but then he realized what was going on, and then he couldn't do anything because now his name is connected to that. So he decided to keep quiet and like just do, like, he was kind of stuck in that whole situation. you know so that, or there's also a possibility that he is also somehow connected to this. Like, I'm trying to think of like multiple possibilities here. Either he's a victim where he somehow got stuck to this organization, because you can see he doesn't get paid, he doesn't get proper, like, he has to pay rent, and all these things are kind of showing how much in a disadvantageous position he is in. So why keep working there? That's the question. So that's why I'm saying maybe he got stuck there somehow. He somehow like couldn't get out of there. Because in these type of situations, in these type of organization, if they're actually doing some criminal activities and everything, like, even if you have no idea and you join that place at the very beginning thinking it's a very normal place, then you realize that, oh no, something shady is going on, and now your name is connected to that and you're stuck over there. Sometimes you might get afraid of being like arrested and all that, and you keep quiet and you keep doing your thing, even though like it's not helping you in any way or form. You're just stuck there in a weird way. So that is a possibility. And like I said, there's also a possibility maybe he is actually like the one who committed those crimes, and now he is just like he's giving all of these excuses and everything. Maybe he is actually guilty. So yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, he never questions. He automatically, he's like, oh yeah, like, oh, he's innocent. There's also another part to it where you might think that, yeah, he he's saying all of these things, and he's trying to make himself look innocent. Maybe he's not. Maybe he actually did all of this, and now he's just, like, giving excuses, and he is actually guilty. There's a possibility. Right. Either way. Okay, so yeah, there you go. That was the case. Now, and then we also get a little bit more of Higuruma, where we see that lady was telling, that other girl, she was telling how Higuruma was even worse before this, and how he always takes these type of cases where it's like, like impossible to win, like these criminal cases. And they also talk about another case that he was in with that drunk driving case, and the fact that he always talked to Higuruma, and she asked that, what about your mental health? What about your mental state? Like you do all of these things, and then you don't, like it doesn't work out. And as we can see, the people who are there, who you've been giving your all to fight for, they look at you in a way as if you're the reason why they're here in the first place. Like you're the one responsible. That accusatory glance. And for the beginning, you can see Oe. It seemed like Oe was like winning, and he was like thankful. He's like, "Oh my god, thank you so much. Thank you. You at least believed me." You know. And then in the second trial, death sentence, life imprisonment, or whatever it was. And then those eyes. He looks at him like that. In the end, you can see he awakens his power, and he's like, "Order, order, come back, everyone. The trial. We're going to have another trial." Right. So yeah, there you go. That was Higuruma. Now, other than that, we had another character here, which was who met Megumi. So this guy, I'm guessing, as they mentioned, he's supposed to be someone who's connected to Kenjaku. And he says something interesting. Not only him, Higuruma also says something interesting later on, as we see both of them talking to Yuji and Megumi respectively. Basically, a lot of these things that Kenjaku said are lies, and there's a possibility that he's hiding something. And so what we know is that the reason why the Sculling Games is happening, as they say, is because they want to like harvest these cursed energy from these participants and then ferry them to the other side to make them something other than human. That's what it is, right? But then the question comes in, which that guy brings up, is that if that's the case, then why make it like this? Like, for example, a lot of the participants just get separated. They just die somehow, even before starting the game. As we saw, a lot of people just fell to their death. Um, and because it makes sense. Like, can you imagine? Like, you have no power. Obviously, you're a normal person, and then you decide to participate in the culling games, or you not only decide, you just you have no choice, and you just gets thrown off a building, like Yuji and Megumi, as we saw. And yeah, you do have a power, but you don't know how to use that. Within that small amount of time, if you're able to figure out how to use that power and save yourself from impending death, then it's all well and good. Otherwise, you'll die. You just fall flat on your face. So yeah, like a lot of them just died like that. So a lot of participants already get disqualified like this. They're not just there. And then on top of that, people like Kashimo and Higuruma taking out sorcerers like this. So at the end of the day, the number of sorcerers are decreasing. So this is a very weird type of a way to harvest, like cursed energy from them. If more than half of them are just going to die, so that is not the original. That is not the plan. That is not the reason. Like why this is happening. That's like there's not like full truth to what this is how this is supposed to go. So basically, what they imply is that they are doing this to awaken sorcerers as soon as possible, and people like Higuruma, and others maybe who are going to get extremely strong, they will survive up until the very end, and obviously there will be a limited amount of sorcerer at the end because they are the ones who are going to be killing most of them, and then okay, so this part is a little bit, I'm not sure exactly what it means. Then it said apparently Kenjaku's going to drop a bomb on them? Like, okay, so that's why I said that this reminds me of the Holy Grail War, because like in Fate, the Holy Grail War basically is like a war where like it seems like there's something is happening, but in the background something else is happening. As we get to know at the end, that basically this is like a way of like the strongest to survive up until the end, and not only that, the ones who die get into the Holy Grail and they fill up the Grail, and like that's how like the wish granting like Grail does its job. Like like so everyone who's dying just goes back to the Grail, that kind of thing. So it seems like it's somewhat similar to that, where we're just weeding out the people who will be not that strong and who are just going to die off, and the remaining ones at the very end are going to be the strongest ones, and then something is going to happen with them. So okay, where's that part? I want to read that section where they reveal what Kenjaku is trying to do here. So the rule's idea of continuation is just a cover for the real plan. Mark my words, when only the strong remain, Kenjaku is going to drop a bomb on the game. Now, here's the thing: I'm not exactly sure whether he means it literally, or is this some kind of a symbolic way of saying like something else is going to happen, like a like a more what's that word? Like a more hypothetical way of saying like, oh, he's going to drop a bomb on the game, or is he actually going to drop a bomb? Because they literally show us like a bomb dropping. I'm not exactly sure exactly how to take these words, whether literally or hypothetically, but whatever it is, in however way, he's going to drop a bomb basically. For now, I'm going to assume it's a literal bomb because they show a literal bomb here. Okay, and the culling game will fulfill its purpose. So you can see like the whole explosion happens, and here you can see Kenjaku comes in to like a round table kind of, like where there's like a lot of people. I'm guessing they're probably like leaders, like on the higher like positions of the political world or something like that. I don't know. And they're like, oh, please have a seat. And since there's like subtitles and everything, I'm guessing they're like from different places. Maybe they're not speaking Japanese. I don't know. That's why I said like political leaders, maybe from all over the world or something. But I guess Genjaku also like subtitles are also there. So yeah, maybe they're just from Japan. I don't know. Whatever. But yeah, I'm assuming they're like some kind of a like political like people from the top, and Kenjaku's like talking with them. So this is like the the main reason why this culling games is happening. It's not because of this what they mentioned is like, oh, they're going to harvest like cursed energy and they're going to ferry us to the other side and make us inhumans. Yeah, not exactly true. Like there's something else going on at the same time. Right, and yeah, there you go. So that is what it is. So now Yuji and Megumi both kind of know what might be happening, and that there's a possibility there's something going on in the background, and there's some kind of Kenjaku's other plan, you know. But yeah, now another thing I wanted to mention here, Higuruma thinks this is actually good. The way the system works here is very good, as he says that in this system, like as he says, where's that part? He says that in this system, like anyone who commits something wrong, they automatically gets judged, right? Something like that. Okay, so what if people who broke the rules were punished by physics without any need for indictments, prosecutions, and arguments at trials? Wouldn't that be wonderful? I'll acknowledge there are issues with the current system, but I want to watch over the system serving as a basis for this game. So yeah, he's saying that like, I think the system has potential. Like, if anyone who breaks something, the law or something, he says breaks the law, right? Wait a minute, just a minute. Okay, broke the rules, yeah, were punished by physics. So he's like, basically he's saying, like, since this game works with a lot of rules and regulations, it is kind of like similar to, society, where you have laws, and if you do something wrong, you get punished for it, judged for it. His whole problem was basically this judgment not being like proper, where a lot of people got falsely accused, and and he wasn't able to help them. So he's like, if there's an automated system like this happening, where you automatically get punished, there will be no wrong, like judgment or anything. So he says that it has potential, and at the same time he says, I do acknowledge that this might have another, like, own set of problems it has, and it's not completely foolproof. That's why I want to see this in action. And that's why he's like, for now at least, I'm not going to do anything to, like, go against this culling games, because I want to see it at its, how it does its job, and I want to see what we can improve on this, and then maybe he's going to think of something. But now he just wants it to continue as it is, basically. Okay, here we go. I'll acknowledge there are issues with the current rules, but I want to watch over the system serving as a basis of the game, because he's like, we can use this in actual world for the, laws and regulations. It won't do for it to end too soon. It is. I especially love to witness the stripping of a technique. Okay, rules number 2 and 8 mentioned in rule 8 and rule 2 at least once. So number 2, players breaching the first rule shall be stripped of their technique. Players who do not show a change in points within 19 days of joining or acquiring points shall be stripped of their technique. Yeah. Okay, it's better for the rules if being stripped. It's better for the rules if being stripped means death too. Yeah, Shoko said that. Right. So yeah, there you go. That is what it is. So that is Higuruma's point. He's like, I don't want to do anything that's going to impede this process, because I want to see what it can bring. So for now, he's like, no, let this continue. Well, obviously Yuji's like, no, then I'm going to just take it from you. I'm just going to, like beat you up and get the points from you. So yeah, that is the situation. So now they're fighting amongst each other, and like, we get to know that maybe Kenjaku has something else that he's planning. And this whole, like, bomb thing at the end that they mentioned, I think we need more explanation to that. Like, but we have to understand for now that basically what it seems like might be what they're trying to do in this culling games. Maybe that's not what's happening. Maybe there's a different thing that is going to happen at the background, which Kenjaku knows, and and which kind of indicates in a direction where it shows us that they're going in a direction where they're literally, the name, I kind of I guess it kind of makes sense, the name culling games, literally culling people, like taking out the ones who are, like, weak and who won't be able to survive. And at the ending, like, section, only a few will remain who are extremely strong. And then apparently Kenjaku is going to drop a bomb on them. So, like I said, that part, I guess we need more explanation, which we'll probably get to know. Either way, that was a great episode. One thing I have to say, I really love the direction this season is, like, taking. Like like, obviously animation and everything are still as good as always, but the way they are, like, what can I say? Like, the way they're directing the episodes, it is very good. I really like it. For example, today we saw, like, it started in a very not slice of lifey way, I would say, but it started in a very normal way, where we got to see this whole story, and then we little by little got brought into the reality as to what's happening, and that kind of thing. Like, I've seen this before as well in the previous episodes as well. In a lot of the sections, one where, like, Yuji was talking to him. I forgot his name. The new guy, the one who's going to help us, the senpai. He Hakari, yeah. God damn it. When Yuji was talking to Hakari, a lot of these sections, the direction. Oh, and obviously, the fight, that the Zenin clan massacre, whatever that was, like, that is called, that as well. The direction is spectacular. It I don't know, it is really like this is elevating. This season is, for now at least, this season is the best for me in Jujutsu Kaisen because of that, and obviously like a lot of the things that are happening is also interesting. You know, up until now, like like the my favorite part of Jujutsu Kaisen was that part, the Gojo, you know, like the flashback arc where we saw, like what was it called? The first few episodes of season two. That was like the best part. For now, this season is like actually I'm really liking this season because again, like I said, the direction is absolutely amazing. The way every episode is playing out, it I don't know, it is very like enjoyable. I would say, like it's not just it's not just plain like two-dimensional, like, oh, character goes, character talks, character fights, character like understands, and character like, yeah, not like that. Like it's kind of like the arrangement of the scenes and everything are done very well, and I really like it, the way the direction is, like the season's direction is going. So yeah, anyways, I just wanted to mention that because yeah, it has been top notch this season. Either way, that was it. That was my reaction to episode number 8 of Jujutsu Kaisen season 3. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to press the like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel, or if you haven't subscribed, then comment down below anything you want to say, anything you want to let me know. I'll check them out. That is it. Yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next week with another episode. Until then, goodbye and have a nice day.